Hello, Brittany, and welcome to your shadow work reading. First and foremost, thank you for your patience. So, what we are going to be doing today is getting into the nitty gritty. We are digging through your soul trash. I guess that's what I should call it, to find the reward. It's the compilation of all the parts of yourself that you repressed. This is whether it was a talent like singing, but your family hated singing, or something dirtier like you used to be abused as a child. Either way, all the parts of yourself that you push into the background become a part of your shadow. So, how are we tapping into these? Through your book of life. So, from the moment that any soul separates from source and becomes a thing of its own, you get a book, right? This book keeps track of all of your incarnations, whether they are up in the space, in the constellation communities, the other planets, or here on Earth, whether you were a plant or an animal or a human. There is a chapter for each incarnation that you have lived. So we're going to be digging through the incarnation. I'm going to say the current incarnation, but that's not true because it really appears that we keep doing the same thing in circles. So we're just going to dig in your shadow in general. I'm going to start by tapping into the frequency of your book. We are using our body as radio receivers, pick it up on frequencies, the same way as when you recognize that someone's lying to you. Like you might not have proof, but you can feel it. That's because the lie is coming through your radio. Your life story or your shadow story is going to be coming through my radio. And we're just going to dig around and see what comes out. This will be a blast. So I am first entering the Akashic Records on the behalf of Brittany Lene Swan. Entering the records on the behalf of Brittany. All right. What does Brittany's shadow want her to know right now? What does her shadow want her to know right now? There are things that you are desiring that are going to require a rebirth of yourself. Most particularly, looking in the mirror at yourself and dissolving what no longer works for you. This goes back to what I was saying a second ago about the shadow being the compilation of all the things that you believed about yourself. Like if somebody said something to you when you were a child, it all just sort of went in your subconscious and became a part of you that sort of felt like maybe this was true. You're going to be weeding through what is no longer true so that when you do get back on track, this is setting your course, you're aiming in the right direction. It's like you've been building on a lower tier than the one you're supposed to be built on because your self-esteem was lowered in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if you're already married, but a dude popped up in here. Yeah, oh, never mind. You're not married. You're not in a relationship. I can tell. It's obvious now because there is a meeting on the way. So you were unable to meet up with your boo thing beforehand because all this other clutter was blocking the radio that leads you in the right direction. Your human radio receiver was trying to pick up messages from this person and know where to meet them, and it couldn't hear clearly. So you want to be the queen of roses. That's what your shadow wants you to know. You really do want love. You want family. You want affection and all that stuff. You are not minding building. This is the architect building on something, meeting somebody and working from the ground up, but it is requiring a rebirth, starting from scratch. The you know now is not the you that you will be by the end of this year. So I am about to dig into this a little bit harder. What exactly are the shadow patterns that you will be releasing? Finding out love is on the way is always fun, right? Being anxious, like, oh, where is it? But you don't even have to worry about it. It's actually in your control. As you heal, as you start to do better, as you start becoming the partner that you want to yourself, that you want to receive to yourself, that person will just come in. It'll come out of nowhere. I just had a freaking client, right? We did like 2 sessions and she started working on the things she needed to. She met the guy randomly at a bar. She's not the type of person that hooks up with people on a regular basis, but she met this guy and she went home with him that night, and they have been together for months since. And when I finally got to do their charts, because keep in mind, when I first told her a guy was on the way and the stuff she had to do to start bringing him in, there was no guy. Now she got his information, put the charts together. This is her hubby. This is the one that she's waiting on. So just to let you know, these things do come together. what is, what are the shadow patterns that Brittany needs to release? What are the patterns that Brittany needs to release? Only doing things your way, not accepting help. Your way or the highway. Ooh, that you saw that strange light that went by? Your way or the highway. Meditate on that one, eh? Um, there's a part of you, and I am gonna have to go past life for this, that is wearing a mask. For certain people, you don't let them in at all. You don't have to hear what they say or nothing. And these might be the people that you actually need. But for other people, you're wearing this masquerade that is based upon the person that you became, the person you thought you needed to be to survive in the place that you grew up, right? But this makes you martyr yourself to other people. I'm feeling very particularly family. This is colorless angel, somebody who just accepts responsibility and thinks they have to do it. But this pattern of seeking approval, and it really does feel like the people you grew up with, seeking approval as this perfected version of yourself in front of them, is like an addiction of sorts, addiction to the pain. So, like chasing uh, a carrot when you're a rabbit in a cage. Do rabbits get put in cages? Whatever, think about hamster then. You know how a hamster goes around the wheel waiting for the reward? That is what you're waiting for, and it's giving you this energy of feeling fated to suffer. So I'm about to dig from the past life deck. This is not a current life only pattern. You've been trying to please your family for lifetime out of lifetime. And because of the way that certain members, I can't tell you exactly who it is, but we'll see in this past life thing if it comes up, you don't let new people in, and you have a hard time letting go of the old people that are outdated. It's like everything in your life needs to be upheaved because it was all built on this not feeling like you had a strong place in your own life. Like your meaning was to be a background character in everybody else's stuff. So let's see. What past life is this pattern of feeling fated to suffer connected to for Brittany? Where is this pattern coming from? It's like you're so protective of yourself sometimes, but there's an area where you're completely unprotected. So this had to do with religion. That's where this pattern grew from. And it could even be in this life that it was reiterated, like you honor thy parents or honor whatever the case may be. But for you, it started in Atlantis. You were a medicine woman. Look into the Mayans of Atlantis. That is absolutely what's coming up here. And you gave a lot of yourself for that job consistently. You did not have a life of your own. Your life was based upon what was told to you as a priestess. Like from the time that you were born, you were, I hate to say groomed because it has such a bad connotation now, but groomed into this position of not having a life of your own. Like a priestess that has the sacred flame. Have you looked into like the Vesta priestess? Vesta priestesses. Women who were virgins their whole life to carry the flame, to carry a mission. I'm not saying you had to be a virgin your whole life there, but there was a ripple created for you of always doing what you needed to for your family and putting yourself aside. So those are going to be the patterns that you are releasing. Let's see what your shadow wants to say to you, because that's always interesting. Get my in the shadows deck, because it's like your shadow just be whispering stuff, right? For the shadow of Brittany Swanson, what would you like for her to know? Shadow of Brittany Swanson, what would you like for her to know? You don't see her. You don't acknowledge your shadow. You don't acknowledge your own pain in some ways, so much so that it becomes that hard wall that you had. See, you can't see that because it says, I fear that you will reject me. You won't accept that everything about you is not perfect. And I'm saying that because like you realize it because so many people have like pointed out your flaws to you and made you feel insecure. But you sitting with that yourself in a way that does not shame you. You know what I mean? Like I'm really bad at timing. My energy is bad. I'm not good with organization. I have some procrastination issues. All that stuff I had to sit with and say, damn, I guess I do be fucking up. That's what your shadow wants from you. But it's like your shadow feels like you will automatically start feeling victimized. Like If a negative trait is pointed out, and you'll be like, well, I'm only this way because such and such. And that's what you need not do. You need to honor both your light and your dark. And if there's something that you don't like, you can modify it, but you have to accept it to change it. You have to accept it to change it. And your shadow feels like you will not start that process, or is afraid that you won't start that process. So that's some deep shit, huh? Let's get into the Dark Goddess Oracle, right? The Dark Goddess, goddesses in general, are the ones that lead you through rougher times, dark nights of the souls, those who help you take your power back, because you were once a being of light, pure power, right? You came down here to get dirty. That dirt, once it's washed off, helps you shine brighter, if you will. It's like coal turning into a diamond over time. You're ready to turn into a diamond, but you have to reconfigure the molecules of the charcoal or the shadow, the dirt. That's what transmutation is, taking all the heavy stuff and burning it into a fuel that makes you burn even brighter, right? The dark goddesses, or the one that you're going to be referred to, is the one that is meant to be helping you transmute this pain, embracing the pleasure with the pain. Is that what it was? The beauty. Imagine Dragons popped in my head. Believer is a song I'd recommend for this, seeing the beauty in the pain and turning that into the fact that you can do anything. So what dark goddess will Brittany be needing for this show? What will she be needing for this journey? Drum roll. Arnemisha. Never even heard that one. I'm gonna show you the card. But integrity. And I usually don't read the book. I don't for any other deck but this one, because there's a very specific message and story that comes along with this. It's sort of like an activation, something that starts working on stuff on the inside of your head. So Arnemisha. What an interesting name. Critics hear a bunch of lies. Do not listen, don't reply. Principles now point the way. Integral truth will save the day. By the power of the dark goddess and me, protection in place, blessed be. The guidance. So, you seem to have lost yourself within the dark of the woods and can no longer see the light. Between criticizing yourself and others, you have lost sight of your integrity as you fight to survive in what you perceive to be a competitive world. Your inner critic is doing a great job of destroying what little hope you have left. You feel you are under so much criticism and so much pressure to get things done. The niggling voice of self-criticism, frustration, and disapproval is slowly but surely eating away at you. You need to remember that there is nothing good or bad, right or wrong through the eyes of Arnemisha. Remember, it's this type of thinking that causes problems. Arnemisha holds a light in the darkness so you can see your way out of the woods to a place of integrity. Here, she will ensure that you remain in a place of honesty, truth, and ethics as integrity leads the way. The foresight here. Replace your critical thoughts with positive statements. What I've been saying this whole time. Don't just accept the first offer. Use your integrity when making decisions. Speak in a loving and supportive way to yourself. You are your own worst critic. See beauty in everything around you. Spend time by a stream or river. I could throw this book. It does not matter how many times I do this job. I am just like the radio receiver. The stuff is just streaming through me, but that's never not amazing because, like, what the fuck? As soon as we get done this, all this will be out of my head. I'll be like, what was I doing? Because this is for you. That's what you needed to know, baby. You are beating yourself up for nothing. This is old stuff being held over your head, and it's time for you to let it go. Let it go. So let's end this with a more positive note, eh? Let's see what character traits you will be developing once you start pushing through these shadows. Who will Brittany become when she starts working through these shadows? Who will she become? What traits will she develop as she works through these shadows? This is always my favorite part. Because you never know who you are till you shine up your diamond or your piece of coal and shit. So, ooh, I like this already. You're spicy, girl. Well, first, lover. So, if you have not been in a relationship where somebody has been loving you properly, girl, it's on the way. So, next, this for one particularly made me happy for you too, just because it feels like you have been under somebody's thumb for a long time. Rebel. This is like the rowdy teenager. Can you see that? That's a badass kid, right? You are going to get to the point where you start fighting for yourself, what you believe in, what you deserve. This is about your sexuality too, because a lot of your self-esteem has not been allowing you to get into that, because this femme fatale is coming up also. You being aware of yourself as a sensual being, and this doesn't even have to do with the actual act of uh sex. It has to do with you loving yourself. When you look in that mirror, there's just something sexy about you looking in the mirror and being like, oh my goodness, me. This is moi. And that's the energy you need to embrace to pull in somebody else who's like, that's mine. See? Next is mediator. You're going to be solving issues. It's like karmic issues. Do you have planets in your fourth house? I guess I'll know that when I do the synastry reading. But this feels like you are solving family karma, family oppression. Like a lot of the women in your family have been held down by like dogma uh, over time. You'll be starting to speak from a higher perch. And that's not to be an asshole, like you're being egotistical, you're better than anybody, but you'll be learning from experience. Like, hey, I used to feel like this all the time, and I had to learn A, B, C, and D. You might learn some psychology, or start using like new terminology and stuff to understand. Once you're a healed person, you're able to help people from outside of the pain. That's what it was. Right now, you guys have been negotiating or working together in a trauma bonding space, like y'all are all dealing with the same oppression. Like somebody oppressed somebody's creative energy or their inner child or their feminine sexuality, and they just did it to you because that's what happened to them, and this is rolled over. You're the one that said, hey, that's not how we're supposed to do things. And other people will be like, oh my goodness, I didn't think of that. Some people might give you some pushback, but the other people have been hurt too. They just haven't acknowledged it. And that's why you come along. Help them see their own potential. So what do you need to embrace for self-care to get here? What does Brittany need for self-care? What does Brittany need for self-care? Make a vision board. You have the opportunity and the ability to manifest where you want to go for this year. What do you want to develop into? That is what this vision board is for. I made one on Pinterest because I was like, I do not have time to sit here with no magazine and cut out stuff. Maybe you do have time. Maybe you have Virgo placements and this will be a blast for you. But if not, I went on Pinterest and I made a 2023 board. I just added all the stuff I wanted to do, and this already started working. That's another thing about manifestation. As soon as you put something in your subconscious, it starts working. This is for the negative or positive. So for you, we are weeding out the negative. So that stops running a continuous program in your mind and putting in anything can happen. Anything is possible. Life is amazing. It can be amazing. It continues to be a voyage. That could even be your start. Like, hey, I'm still going. So sound healing. This is working on your chakras, your energy, tuning your radio. I do this on YouTube. On YouTube, you can type in sound frequencies, sound bowls, and pick which one resonates with the energy that you feel like you need to feel. You might even get guided to one, but sound healing, just sitting in silence will help you. Allowing yourself to heal or being open to healing even is a great start. Spend time with animals, and also crystals came on here. So you are recalibrating your energy by bringing in more positive energy to start to lift your vibration. Crystals, tourmaline to block out negative people, selenite to protect your sensitive energy is what just came up. In those sound frequencies, just when you wake up in the day or when you go to sleep at night, you need to start clearing out your radio, because you have people that are like constantly in your ear. And it doesn't even have to be that they're saying anything negative, but when that person interacts with you, all the negative stuff that they have said or the thoughts they've had about you or that sort of energy is being re-triggered within you. So clear them people out your circle, girl. But take a break, step back. That's fine too. You know, some people you can't cut out because like their family or whatever, but you can step back from them when you recognize, hey, I matter too. Have a great